Everybody talking about power, but nobody talking about control. And control don't yell. See, the loudest person in the room usually isn't the strongest. They're the most uncomfortable. We're living in a time where people confuse attention with influence, noise with music, movement, and exposure with strength. Back in the days, OGs didn't explain themselves. They didn't post every move. They didn't argue with people who had nothing to lose. They moved in silence, not because they were scared, but because they were strategic. Today, everybody got something to say. Everybody reacting, everybody online crashing out in real time. Meanwhile, the people actually winning, you don't hear from them. Today, we're talking about why silence is a power move, why loud people stay stuck, and how to shift from survival mode rather, to strategy. This is OG wisdom. Let's get into it. Peace, family. It's your brother Tad on the check-in. Yeah, I think we all been in a place where you hear somebody before you even see them, and they think that's strength. But we know the real G's move in silence like lasagna. But I'd be remiss if I didn't bring in my heavy hitters, my G's to the stage. Gutter, when you ready, give me the thumbs up. K Fighter, when you ready, give me the thumbs up. Peace to the family. What's the word?
What's
Happy
crap?
Sunday. Happy Sunday.
Yeah, happy Sunday. Yo, I felt this was powerful, right? Given all that's going on in the online community, online space. As we said before, this is the new industry, this is the new mode of communication. This is how we see what's going on in real time. With the what's the boy name? Anton Daniels and the Corey Holcomb situation. One person was silent, one person still talking. Then we got our dude Charleston White and Woody going through it. My heart was hurting this morning. My heart was hurting this morning. I respect the dude.
White Woody?
Yeah, Charleston White and Woody.
Your heart was hurting over that?
Yeah, man. Because, Woody lost a child and Woody got a disabled child. And, Charleston White have no barriers. And he's very disrespectful to people with children that have passed. So we seen him do it with Gilly. We see we see him do it with a lot of people. So now
he did it with somebody else's kids.
Yeah, with Woody's child. Woody had a baby. I'm talking about a baby. Come on, man. Certain shit as G's we don't play. So we're gonna talk about just that and then some. But I'd be remiss if I don't shout out our usual suspects. Peace to the Queen of Noosa on the check-in. Shout out to Seven Fitness. Our sister Brooke always on the 1 and 2. We appreciate you. In the Spread Love Movement 74, Simbo.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe. So why do y'all think the loudest person in the room normally get the most attention? What's that about?
Because they looking for it.
Like his attention. A good thing in this thing.
They're attention seekers.
Yeah. I think this is a sad state of affairs that we in, because a lot of people are getting attention just for being loud, but they're not saying anything and they're not even adding value to the conversation when they speak. And that is dumbing down.
Yeah, that
society
comes
pretty much.
In the respect when we was having a conversation like older dudes, once you get to a certain age, you got it. You know what I'm saying? You got to tighten up.
Yeah, man.
You can't push the same narrative you was pushing when you was younger. If you was in the streets, you know what I mean?
Right.
Especially if you not still involved. That's what the problem with a lot of this internet shit is. Dudes is not in the streets, and even if they used to be, they not in the streets no more. And then you got like them two dudes, they internet personalities. So that's a different situation. But as far as dudes that have been outside, been in the streets doing they thug thizzle or whatever, when they no longer in those situations and then you speaking on it in negative connotations, You know what I'm saying? Well, you supposed to be doing this, you supposed to be doing that. That's a disservice after you get to a certain age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not something for the internet. That's
Yeah.
something you discuss with your you know what I'm saying? If you're in the game with your homeboys, if you're not in that situation, that's with the people that you have in those type of disputes. You know what I'm saying? That's not something for the internet.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
just
anytime you bring, that's the problem. People are bringing the streets to the internet, and the streets is the streets. The internet is the internet.
yeah.
Two
And I
entirely different things.
and I
And we
think this fits so
before.
many situations, you
We
know.
spoke on that before.
Yeah, definitely. And I say it fits so many situations. It's like when you get locked up, boom. You sitting in your cell, you sitting in the day room, and it's always somebody walking in the house making mad noise. And when you really peel back the layers, you realize Duke ain't about nothing. He really a monkey on the cage, a monkey on the gate, rather. You know, when you lock up, it's the difference between the gorillas
Cell
who move,
soldier.
yeah, and the monkeys jumping up and down on the gate.
Dude
And
scream. Dude.
yeah,
You
word
know,
up, I'm using that phone, word up.
we had a saying, it's like in the Bing, she's gonna turn green and turn to the Hulk and kick the doors off the hinges. 'Cause you locked in. It was just like
Right, ain't nothing you could do.
nothing you can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yo,
it just from that situation, if like you feel something happen, you just wait till you for the your opportunity to get out or come out your cell and you with that police and you get active. You know what I'm saying? You demonstrate. Other than that, you know, the back and forth, that shit is meaningless.
yeah. Sis, what's your take on it? The silence, because you're a woman, and I think a lot of women can see through it, other women can't.
Oh, no, they
Some
hate it.
women are attracted.
I done been around women. They like they hate shit like that, especially if it's see through.
I don't know, because some of these dudes are getting attention. They pulling up.
No,
So
what I'm saying is, I'm talking about a woman. I'm not talking about.
right. But yeah, that's what I mean. They pulling
I'm
up with
saying,
chicks. Like chicks
no,
are attracted to the
yeah,
loud dudes.
they're with young ladies, but they not with women.
Ah, there you
They're with
go.
young ladies, but they not with women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a woman is not going to allow shit like that.
Well, we got a woman on the panel.
You're gonna put the woman in danger.
Let's
That's just like us with you got to think about it. It's the same way in reverse. You know how dudes that's outside don't
Uh-oh.
yeah, you froze, Gutter. All right, sis. So yeah, what's your take, sis?
I think it's ridiculous. It's very childish. And, these are the same grown men, just keeping it in the context of the two incidents that you mentioned. These are the same grown men who have so much connotation about the Black community, and they get on these platforms and they display the worst of themselves.
Yeah,
This is not a good look. And any instance with Charleston White, he says he has a wife. I don't know. But if he does, she needs to rein him in a little bit because, you know, this can be dangerous for her. You know what I mean? And it seems to me that he has no respect for himself, for his children, or his wife, especially as old as he is. You know what I mean? To, agitate certain situations, that's ridiculous. And the with Corey Holcomb and this dude Anton, um, if you really about that, after you sign off, go around the corner and knuckle it up. If you really about that, you don't have to, display something for the world to see, because if something happens to either one of them, the police is coming straight to you. So after we finish this show, we're going to go around the corner. Shh, we're going around this corner. We're going to tighten it up. if you're really about that. So it's just totally ridiculous. I see it as a Muhammad Ali moment. Muhammad Ali would always hype up the fight. You know what I mean? But there was something to anticipate after that hype. There is nothing to anticipate after these fools get on here and argue.
Fight though.
Yeah.
Whoop ass.
Right.
You know, and then when it wasn't his public persona, he wasn't like that.
Right.
He was very quiet.
Right.
He only did that as a public persona.
Right.
For the media, for the masses. You know what I'm saying? He figured out how these, you know what I'm saying, Caucasians feed into all that type of shit. They love it and hate it. Got to remember, he was the most hated before he was the most loved.
Yes.
Right. Because he was anti-establishment.
And his big mouth.
Yeah.
He was saying, his big mouth was against the establishment. Now we just got dudes with big mouths that have big mouths.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about it. If people go back and listen and watch a lot of his interviews when he was young, you know what I'm saying? It's deep, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? He say a lot of shit. And it's always, he said, man, none of them Vietnamese people ain't never did nothing to me.
Word. And that's a fact. And when the brothers did come back, they were subjected to the racist imperialism that they was trying to
over there
the Vietnamese too. Like, yo, hold up.
But they was subjected over there as well. Because they didn't indoctrinated that country to be anti-black. So you getting it from all sides.
Yeah.
The government knew, the people in propaganda knew better because they knew they getting the news. So they knew propaganda to send flyers out to tell black people stop fighting.
Yeah.
We your brother. But you go to the city, they calling you nigga.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, like I didn't get the experience, but through elders from my family experienced that shit.
Who kept it real with us, because all of us had OGs in the family that told us the truth about what goes on in the world, what goes on in society, who's allowed to come into the house, who's not allowed to come into the house. I think we lost all of that. And now with the advent of social media, it's like a sense of trauma bonding. It's like everybody's trauma has become entertainment. And that's the part that hurts me so much, because as I grew up, we knew that family, children, mothers was off limit. If you want to fight somebody, the first thing you had to say was your mother. You didn't even have to say nothing about her. Just say your mother. Somebody looking at you. What you looking at? Your mother.
Two things. Frank Stan and your mother.
Yeah.
Bro, that was a fighting word. Like you said, your mother. There's nothing after that. Your mother.
Your mother.
Right in your face off of your mother. Your mother. You don't even know what's now let's be logical. We grown. What the fuck come after that? Your mother. Your mother. Nothing. What? Yeah, exactly. That you get so mad, but it was already ingrained in us
that mothers is off limits.
Yeah.
And once we became adults, children were off limits.
Yeah.
No matter who.
Kids, ain't no kids off limits because that's what we was.
Right.
And we ain't had no kids. We don't even think about having kids yet.
But we knew, but even as younger people, we knew it was a certain age limit where we could fight people. You know, it's people that violated that, because I done got violated plenty of times. Some older nigga done whooped my ass. You know what I'm saying? Numerous times. You know what I'm saying? When niggas too old was whooping my ass. But that was because of my mouth too. But you know, even with that, we knew it was an age limit. You know what I'm saying? I'm 17. I'm not fighting no 12-year-old.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm not doing nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Might snatch them up.
Yeah.
But I think like with this social media trauma bonding, because now we got what's called the dirty section of YouTube. And shout out to everybody doing their 1-2s. I applaud everybody that come home. I always say this: you come home, you figure out this space, and you get your money. I respect that. The parts I don't respect is the disrespect, Come on, we grown men now. Most of these dudes done did dimes and dubs in jail. They done did real bids. And then they come home and act like they haven't learned the lessons of what it takes to get your head knocked off.
A lot of times, competition on who's really tough.
Who was the toughest in jail? I ain't met one dude who was the toughest in jail, and I know some certified ones. Nobody is the toughest in jail. I remember my Uncle Zayd, shout out to him, right? And get better soon. He just had surgery, right? My Uncle Zayd used to hate when people called him big man. Like, yo, why you get so offended? He's a predicate, right? He said, yo, when you locked up and you get recognized as the big man, people always want to test you. Yeah, they want their stripes off you, so you always fight. You be minding your business. And they like, I want stripes off the big man. And you got to fuck somebody up.
Well, in adolescence, yeah. But as an adult, but if like, you know, everybody hang with you got a crew in jail.
Right. You know, well, he older now.
No, so. I'm saying it's very rarely a dude was in prison and just was antisocial. He was by himself. So you formulate your little group that you hang out with. So say your man get into it and he the biggest nigga.
Right.
They gonna step to him first. They gonna try to hit him because they looking forward. It's like, oh, yo,
for the strength. We gotta get big man.
Yeah, we gotta get
big man out. Get
exactly.
The big man first.
Yeah, and that's what I think. That's what he means. It's like, yo, in all situations, I get targeted first.
Right, but he wasn't even talking about being with a crew. He talked because he rolled for Dolo, so you know he. It's hard to explain. He's loud in the streets when he wants to be, but for a lot of times he is silent. And he said, especially when he get locked up, he just quiet. You know what I'm saying? Because he know how to jail. He been going to jail since the 70s, 80s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
when there was no TVs and all that. When jail was jail.
Yeah,
now dudes is comfortable.
Niggas coming out, working out, fighting. Ain't no TV.
Yeah, ain't none of that comfort shit. You know ain't no writing up a CO. Ain't no, yo, the CO with me out. I want to press charge. Ain't none of that. But now, and that's what I'm saying. Like the trauma of it all, dudes did stretches, and now they come home trying to prove how tough they are. But ain't that how you got locked up in the first place? Proving how tough you are. Ain't that what got you removed from your family, the people you love? I'm gonna tell a quick story. Shout out to my man JD, Spanish dude. We was locked up. Boom. He used to call the crib. His girl's his brother-in-law, let's just call him his brother-in-law, his girl's sister boyfriend, used to hang up the phone on him. Now, Gutter, you know that piss you off. You calling, because you ain't got much time on the phone. He calling, dude, like, don't call here no more, you jailbird. He like, yo, when I get out of here, I'm going to fuck this dude. I'm like, nah, when you get out, you're going to focus on your family. Boom, boom, boom. Son went to court. They let him go.
He smoked.
Yo, I'm in the day room, Gutter. It's like a day or two later. Son on the gate. Yo, see, I got that nigga, son. I was like, what you mean? You got? How the fuck is you back? Yo, nobody even moved in his cell, Gutter. He was laying there staring at the wall because I went back. He was up and up. Nah, he put hands on him. He ain't clap him, but he beat the brakes off him. But that you just came home. You caught an assault charge. He was back in his cell. And he was staring at the ceiling like, yo, I feel like a sucker, man. Yeah, I was fucking home. And this is what I'm saying about dudes right now who's home, getting to the money, getting a little notoriety, and you still trying to start shit, and you want us to believe you that you really that dude that you profess to be. Look at your behavior. You're not silent. You're not moving like a G. You're moving like a little dude. You done did a dime, a dub, a pound, whatever you did, 5, 10, 20 years, and here it is. You acting like somebody who never been through it before. You need more people. I don't believe it.
And it a lot of times I think, because I went through it when I first came home. You didn't adapt yet. You think you adapted, but you ain't adapt yet. So that jail or the street shit pop up quicker. Yeah. Like when you first come home, it'll pop up quicker because you really ain't adjust yet.
Right.
I told you I got fired from a job, my nigga.
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I
yeah,
got fired from in the shelter. You know what I'm saying? For
yeah,
tweaking. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And what it is they allow the comments to distract from what their goal is. Your
Right.
goal is to make money and talk. You know what I'm saying? Because most of them, they do it as cautionary shit. Or should be. I don't know if
Yeah.
dudes, I like some dudes, I guess they want to just tell you I was getting busy in jail and this. I don't
Yeah,
know.
some of them,
I don't
that's
know
just their
everybody,
story.
yeah, I don't know everybody pages.
Right.
But I'm saying if most of the dudes that this is your joint, you want to tell precautionary tales to young dudes and tell them, yo, I was doing this and that. Yeah. And then you get in the competition. I'm like, what you in competition with somebody? You know what I mean?
Somebody said they pop more people on
Because
YouTube than anybody. I was like, "Ooh, that's an ill statement." They said, I shot more people on YouTube than anybody. Like,
who wants that?
I don't want
Yeah,
that title. Keep it.
yeah,
I don't want that. I just know
yeah,
don't come over here with it.
yeah.
Anybody come over here?
And the thing too that bugs me out is that because it happens on the female side too, as I was watching with Tasha K and Jess Hilarious.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
it's just ridiculous. You arguing with people you don't know. You're arguing with people who don't know you. Like, get your emotions in check. And you have to be smart about how you move in these internet spaces. You can use that for your own benefit. You know what I mean? You gotta act, like a master of ceremonies, truly. If you want to be an MC, truly, in these internet spaces, master how you move because you can use a lot of these people as allies without them even knowing.
Right.
Without them even knowing. And I think a lot of people, bro, get caught up, like you said, in emotion and trauma bonding. You gotta, I don't know these people. I don't argue with people online. If I make a post, then I'm gonna leave it at that.
Right.
You make a post and I comment, you don't like my comment? Okay. I don't know you. You don't know me. You know what I mean? And I think people get a battery in their back on social media platforms. You wouldn't talk that tough in somebody's face. You wouldn't roll up on such and such in their face because you don't know what could happen. You don't know them. You know
That's
what I
a
mean?
fact.
So I think that, well, I know, a lot of people got to take a step back and understand that this is the internet. It's not real life.
Yeah.
It's not real life.
And that brings me to my next piece. The street mentality and the strategist mentality. Because like you said, you can form allies without them even knowing. But it has to be equitable too. Don't think you're just gonna use people. And this for the audience,
Facts.
you can form allies, but don't try to use people. And I
Yes.
think what happens right now is the street mentality is just to be loud voice, just let people know you the toughest. I never wanted to be the toughest because that's the one everybody coming for.
Facts.
You create enemies you don't even know. So you got ops you haven't even met yet. That's why when I get locked, I'm not saying my name Tad. My name's C. My name is
Mm-hmm.
C. Don't call me Tad. I got a bunch of aliases, and we using
Mm-hmm.
those. One dude said, "Why you?" We said, as dudes come into jail, they say, "Oh, it's my dude Tad." It's like, "Yo, C, why they call you Tad?" I was like, "Shh, might have beef with your family. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm grown now. I don't have beef with anybody." But you gotta be a strategist
Yes.
when you in the streets. But now it's like the two have divorced because I remember the street mentality was about being a strategist. In
Yes.
fact, I was watching a old clip of Drink Champs today, and it was talking about Big Face Gary. Shout out to him. He was talking about Biggs, Kareem's Big Birch. And he was talking about how you never knew what Kareem Biggs did. You just knew he had money. And he wore his Timbs and the white tee every day. He didn't always drive fancy cars, though he had mad cars. He rode
Mm-hmm.
around in a humble car. Where's the humility of the real ones?
Come on.
Dudes claim they real, but where's your humility?
Come on.
It's like when I grew up, we had OGs like Mr. Dave, we had Judd, we
Mm-hmm.
had real OGs who transitioned out the game. Rest
Yep.
in peace.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get locked up. They transitioned. They own real estate. They own businesses in the hood. And if
Come
you was
on.
part of the community, you knew who they were and what they did. They
Yep.
didn't. They wasn't boisterous. They didn't post up on nobody block like I'm the richest one out here. I got the nope. They were soft spoken, gentle, quiet, men of distinction. When do
Mm-hmm.
we get back to that part?
Come on.
That
Come on.
silence is what gave them strength because you knew not to mess with them. You knew that silence hid something
Mm-hmm.
that the loud one was showing off. Loud one let you know, yeah, I got the thing on me. I got the, you know what I'm saying? They it's just so different now. And I'm from the streets. That's my foundation. And some of that stuff I'm trying to unlearn, especially coming in these public spaces, especially with the community work we've done, Sister
Yep.
K, and
Mm-hmm.
looking to do more. We got to refine ourselves again. We got to find,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? We got to get our act together. And I realized that looking at where I used to be, and I don't want to deviate from this road I'm on. But it's like the environment right now is getting messed up.
Yep.
People are pissing in the pool. They're
Mm-hmm.
making all kinds of foolishness. And it's disheartening, right? Because for folks like us who represent the Black community, things we say is in the interest of the Black community. How we position ourselves and behave publicly is because we know we're a representation of the Black community. We got
Right.
folks that we represent misrepresenting us.
Come on,
When
man.
we talk properly, and I'm not talking about like proper diction. I'm talking about when we speak of things that matter to our community and solutions, things that we should do. Like, first of all, have self-respect and then respect our neighbors and even respect our ops.
Come on.
When we talk like that, it's like we played out. How? How we played out? And we will still split your noodle. Like that don't go
Heavy.
with it.
Now,
That
it
part
ain't
of the
came fighting for
foundation.
nothing. It ain't came fighting for nothing.
And we got people that you don't see. Crazy case in point. Shout out to Doggy Diamond. Shout out to Whack 100. I remember
Yeah.
they was going through their back and forth. And Whack said some real shit. He said, yo, I called my peoples in New York and they said you need permission to touch Doggy Diamonds. And I don't got permission. Doggy a real one. And I said, you know what? I'm glad he did the right thing and made them calls as opposed to jump out the window.
Mm-hmm.
People always see Doggy by himself. You know, he does his show by himself. Occasionally I'll make my guest appearance. But for people who know, no.
Mm-hmm.
We got people everywhere. People on the East Coast, people on the West Coast, people who's about the same life that you and I and Gutter is about.
Mm-hmm.
We about liberation of our people. We about moving our people forward. But we also with that action.
Quickly.
We with the action. Come like that's and sis, I always tell people that's the easy part. Don't mistake the silence for weakness. The
Yep.
silence is a power move in itself. It is not fear.
Mm-hmm.
Just because somebody's not going to go back and forth with you doesn't mean they not with it. Because
Mm-hmm.
what I've learned in these streets, sis, shout out to my dude Che Black on the check-in. The things that I've learned in these streets, when you get in an altercation with somebody and they get loud, that's because they want help.
Mm-hmm.
They want somebody to see. For the moment you start making them start putting blood in their mouth, somebody go stop them. Look at them over there. Get help. Call the cops. And I try my best to be a civilian now. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard for me, especially when I have my children.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when if I'm on a date or something, I don't want to fight. I don't want to get into it because
Right.
I don't want nobody to see how far I'm willing to go. Because then what happens is whoever's with me now become an accomplice or a snitch.
Yep.
You either caught this case with me or you a snitch. So I'd rather not get involved with none of that. I'd rather not engage.
Yep.
So my silence isn't out of fear. It's not out of submission. It's a safety mechanism for both parties involved.
Mm-hmm.
Cause sis, you from the fort. I want you to talk about how the OGs moved back in the days, Brooklyn style. Cause I don't see it too much no more.
Man, listen. Back in the days, if something was about to go down, They get you out of here. You got to go. Time for you to go home. You can't be out here when this is happening. I don't want to see you doing this. You better be going to school. Why are you cutting school? Such and such and such. They did what they did, but they were always protectors of the community. Always. You had some wild ones who stepped out of line. And when they stepped out of line, they're no longer here.
Right.
I've seen some brothers I grew up with who died brutally. You hear me? Left their bodies, in positions where their mama had to see them. You know what I mean? I've seen people who were pushed off roofs, all kind of stuff. So, and then, having certain members, who I was very close with, people in my family, it's certain ways that, I had to move. You know what I mean? Because like you said, either you're a snitch or you're an accomplice in certain situations. Even the men that I dated, they always, if something was about to go left or I was never with them picking up no packages, I was never that. You hear me? Because they had enough respect for me as a woman, and a woman of theirs don't put me in that light. Right. Don't put me in that light. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people today, Tad, because they didn't have to deal with that. We grew up in the worst era, if you ask me. We grew up in the worst era. And we survived that. And so, a lot of people, I don't know, glorify that. But it's nothing to be glorified. It's nothing to be glorified when your family got to come and bring the kids on a visit for you. It's nothing like that. It's nothing to be glorified. When your mom died and you got to come to the funeral in handcuffs, if you can make it, it's not, listen, and it's nothing to be glorified. It's nothing to be glorified when you got to go to the morgue and identify a family member. It's nothing to be glorified. And if you didn't have to live that, if you didn't have to get it tough in the street, if you didn't have to knuckle up on a regular, that's nothing to be glorified. But apparently, Brother Tad, a lot of people do. And that's a sad state of affairs. You know what I mean? Like you said, there's certain ways that I carry myself because I know if I go in another direction, your mama going to be wearing a black dress. And your mama might be in the casket with you. So I'm trying to move this way so we don't have to do these type of things, just to pick up a phone and your whole family is gone. So I don't want to do these type of things. So, and like you said, the way we moving now, I don't want that kind of light on me because a lot of people look up to us. A lot of people respect us. You know what I mean? So I can't, mess that up as well. You know what I mean? But don't listen, like Dad said, don't let us jump out the window. It's cave fighting for a reason. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? I try to be private as well as transparent. And in these social media spaces, I realize it causes complications in interpersonal relationships. When you are not public about who you deal with, that becomes a challenge. When you're not public about some of your life's challenges, people think you fronting, that you don't have no problems in your life. And I do. I tell people, I go through it like everybody else.
Facts.
The difference is I choose not to air my grievances.
Facts.
Because when I get into it with people I love, once we reconcile, we've reconciled. So I wouldn't put their personal business out there. That's not who I am. Mm-hmm. When I care about people, I keep them private. I keep them tucked right here. I don't want nobody to know who I'm seeing, who I'm dealing, because sometimes you open them up for attacks.
Yep.
And this social media space, it's a real place, but it's not a real space, if that makes sense. Things we see online are not real. Happy couples are not as happy as you think.
Come on.
People that are arguing are going to turn around and be friends tomorrow. Me and Dougie had this conversation yesterday. The reason why we don't pick sides when people we know be beefing. Because let's say you and Gutter start arguing, right, sis? And I pick a side. Let's say I'm on your side and you and Gutter going arguing, and Gutter like, damn, Tad, you supposed to be my man, and you on her side. I see how that's going. But then you and Gutter make up, and I'm still on the outs because I
That
chose a
part.
side and I didn't stay neutral. Damn, I wish
That,
Gutter could come back in. He was having technical difficulty because that's
yeah.
something he was talking about with the whole him and Jim situation, and I'll let him explain that more, you know. But the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing is sometimes look, he came right back on time, my brother.
There you go.
Came right
There
back
you
on
go.
time.
Right on time, brother. Right on time.
All right. Yeah, we back in it. What's good?
Yeah. No, I was just saying about people not picking sides and minding their business. You know, talk just about silence, the strength and measure of silence. And I was saying I would let you tell your story that you shared on this platform before about how the situation with you and Jim came along. I was saying when people pick sides, you know, and how you minded your business with the Mason Cam situation, how you were pretty much silenced, and only reason you and Jim got into it because Jim was vocal. Everybody else was silent in that situation on in both camps, May's side and Cam's side. And you were
Yeah,
sharing that Jim was the only one who got into that
yeah, like
between Mace
once
and
this
Cam.
shit happened with the horse and carriage shit, like they weren't talking, but they weren't like they would see each other. We see each other in clubs. Mace ain't saying nothing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know, they
The
mad
power
at
of silence. Yeah, the
yeah,
power in silence.
they mad at each other, but Cam ain't saying nothing, Mace ain't saying nothing.
Right. So
And
nobody else should say nothing.
yeah, exactly. That was my point of view because they grew up, they literally grew up together. Like I'm with Mace every day. So Mace telling me about how they grew up.
Yeah.
It was rare where he had a conversation where Cam wasn't involved because they grew up together. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
So
saying? So I know it's you know how like you could be mad at each other. He's not like talking to me in a bad way about Cam. So y'all got something I see on your side. Like me and Cam wasn't having deep conversations or nothing like that.
right.
But you know what I'm saying?
But it was
It
still what up when you saw him.
yeah, it wasn't no vocal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Parent disrespect.
It makes me think of the time you told me that you and Big you stopped speaking to Big for a few weeks because one of his lyrics.
Oh
You
yeah,
said
yeah. Off the
how long
off
did you how
about,
long you stopped speaking to Big?
about 2-3 weeks. Man, me and C's had a conversation about that shit last night because he had a show in Connecticut.
Shout
He
out
was
to the Frank White experience.
yeah, he was like, nah, that's how he made you. I was like, bro, why that's the first thing you came up with? What's the first song because I asked him, what's the first song I was on? He was like, the first song my name was mentioned. He was like, Get Money Remix. All right, why you ain't say that? Why the fuck that's the first thing come out your mouth, my nigga?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, I just say that to say, yeah, man, dude, like we was at odds about that. But like I know
Yeah.
once he puts it, like he gonna say what he want to say. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's my man. So like it's not
That's
going
what I'm
first.
saying. At times family don't always speak. So
Yeah,
any outsiders should mind their business. You know, because right before when you was putting your stuff together backstage, I was talking about the power of silence on the internet, like protecting your family, not being vocal about who you dating and seeing, you know, not being vocal about family challenges you may have and who you beefing with.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
this age where everybody is just showing too much.
yeah, too much.
Like people are shit like, and that's like all over. It's like, whoa. It's like,
Yeah. I like what our brother Rich Nice wrote. He said, when people start to buy into the white supremacy lie that our lives have no or less value, that is when rules, code, boundaries go away. Exploiting, disrespecting each other becomes the norm. Yeah, man. We lost our code of ethics, not just as a black community, but
because
we know the criminal world is the subset
yeah,
of any society.
ain't no code of ethics on this shit.
Yeah.
That motherfucker. That's what I'm saying. That's why I say you got to learn to be discerning. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Then when you get to a certain age, that's like some of this shit is not meant to really discuss.
Right.
Because now then you poisoning that you keeping that poison. You know what I'm
Going.
saying?
And then
Proliferating.
now it's going outside of our community because
Yeah,
anybody could
proliferate.
tap in and see community discussions. Like this right here is a community discussion on what a lot of brothers and sisters need to just tighten up on. I ain't saying don't get money. I ain't saying don't speak your piece, but it's always a way in how you deliver it. You know what I'm saying? You're never wrong for what you
Delivery is
say, but
everything. Delivery is everything.
yeah,
Yeah. That's just like when you speaking on, you go to prison, you learn, like she said, delivery is everything. How you deliver it gonna determine how that situation gonna go.
yeah,
It can
yeah.
go, you know what I'm saying? You can keep it here, or it
It
can
could
go
go
off.
all the way left. It could go.
Yeah.
I remember when I was jammed up. A dude asked me. He said, yo, you got some cookies and some snacks for me?" I said, "What?" I said, "Yo, I ain't got nothing for you, fam. But if you want some, ask." He said, "Nah, I don't mean no disrespect." I said, "All right, but how you and I gonna talk to each other? You want something?
Yeah.
You ask me.
Yeah,
But
that's what I'm
I don't got nothing for you. You know what I'm saying?" But Gutter, I also realized, which most people may not know, it's always a test to see how you
saying.
respond. Because had I acquiesced, like, "Oh, I got you, homie, I got you," like, yeah, he's soft. I got him. Because dude's always gonna test you with the phone, with snacks, with the you always gonna be tested.
Yeah,
And you
especially
ain't gotta be the toughest, but you do
like
gotta
this for
stand your ground.
this for any, like Rikers Island is the county. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's New York
That's the
City County
county.
Jail. So anybody that ever been to the county jail,
Oh man, they blocking them heavy
Man.
today.
Yeah, Gutter, they damn. Yeah, we're gonna wait while our brother Gutter fix the technical side of it. Our sister Aruba says, "Me and my brothers weren't speaking, but nobody better than I have been disrespectful to my brother. Still don't play about my brothers till this day. No doubt." And shout out
Facts,
to our brothers.
sis.
Our brothers
Facts.
is my people
100
too.
on that. 100 on that. I can talk about my family. I cannot speak about them. Speak with them, but like she said, you better not say nothing. What's going to be a problem?
Right. And that's the power in silence. And I think as a community, we got to learn that some things are better left unsaid. You don't have to publicly vocalize everything that's on your mind or on your heart. Take it to people that matter. Shit, take it to your best friend. Take it to your cousin. Take it to your mama if you're fortunate enough to still have her. Because that's why I used to cry my tears to as a grown man, my mother. You know what I'm saying? Now I just gotta light a candle, have a glass of water, buy her a picture, and talk to her. And we still have those conversations. But we all need an outlet, and the internet is not the outlet. And I say that because I recognize podcasting, YouTubing as a new industry that we're tapping into. As black people in America, I know we're the influence. We drive the culture. So we can actually change how the world perceives us since we're now literally on the world stage. And somebody in Moscow could be watching us right now, Istanbul, wherever. They could literally tap in and see what we're talking about. And based on how we show up, determines on how people treat us. That's why I'm reluctant to be disrespectful to people on this space. You know what I mean? On this internet space, because anybody could see it. And as the man that I'm growing into, I don't want shit I'm saying on these public platforms to come back and bite me in the ass. That's why I'm
Exactly.
mindful on how I show up. And I want to encourage people because this is just who I am. I'm thankful to not be locked up. I'm thankful to not be in nobody's cemetery because
Mm-hmm.
all this is real, because everybody out here acting like nobody could get it. Everybody from the streets, but people act like they never been to jail or seen nobody in jail or been to no funerals or been in no life or death situations. I tell you, sis, yo, them pow pow battles is very scary. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like when you kids playing cops and robbers,
Yo,
especially when
when was it?
everybody don't make it home.
I think Wednesday I ran into somebody I grew up with in Fort Greene. We work in construction over there by the office. And I ran into him. He was like, "Yo, what's up, Keisha?" Such and such. But it just triggered a memory that, I had with him, where, them things was coming out and we was all ducking behind the garbage and all that. But, again, you don't want that kind of stuff, in open spaces, especially when you're trying to, one, build a business, whether it's your online business, your streaming business, or whatever. You don't want that kind of energy. And two, if you working, for the community, you don't want that kind of stuff out there as well, because, people will try to use that against you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't go in people DMs and,
Right.
because that stuff could be used against you too. They screenshot it. And I mean, it's just ridiculous because, like you said, a lot of people stuck in trauma and you don't know what kind of trauma they stuck in. You know what I mean? And they want you to hurt too. So they'll use that against you so that you can hurt. You know what I mean? You just got to be smart out here. And I think, well, I know all of these cats who have these large platforms really have to reevaluate themselves and how they move, so that they can keep their business growing. You understand? And, hopefully that they can learn from, but I doubt it, that from these situations and move on from it.
Yeah, sis, and that's what's crazy. I'm trying to see if I can find this video to show y'all what I'm talking about. Because when I seen the video of Charleston White being disrespectful to the death of Woody YSL's newborn child, it hurt me. Because we don't play about the children. You know what I mean? Like, some things should just be off limits. And we know where we from. The parents don't have to knock your head off. The uncle of the child, the cousin of the child, family of that unborn child can knock your noodle off. And I'm telling you right now, sis, everybody hate YSL Woody or Woody YSL, however, I forget how his name go, but he was the dude who was the reported snitch in the Young Thug case down in Atlanta. Everybody was hating on him, reporting that he's a snitch. That's not my politics. I'm not in that life no more. I'm a civilian. I'm a 9-to-5 civilian. So please keep me out of that. I'm still a father. So, and a man. So I'm always going to protect and defend myself to the best of my ability. And a grandfather. So I'm going home to my family every night. So please, because I say I'm a civilian, please don't think it's sweet. Right? But however people feel about YSL Woody, I applaud that he said he prayed for Charleston White. He said Charleston White was an idiot, was disrespecting his daughter and things like that, and still got in the car with YSL Woody. And Woody was like, I could have took him anywhere and did anything. And rightfully so. But he said he wasn't going to let the devil win. He said he prayed about it. He said he prayed about it. And when he let it go, he felt better. And says, I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. It's my sister. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you, right? That's how I feel every day. Always feel it's a spiritual battle. You got the video I sent you, right? With the dude breaking up the crack on the train. And
Yeah. I'm like, whoa, like, what the? And the females, and I'm like, never mind.
These
That's
things,
train.
these things that are irritating to the spirit, it just, and when people talk about children, it hurts. It hurts me profoundly because that's our future. Those are the people who are going to have to take care of us as we age, when we get older and we start seeing our twilight years. We're going to depend on the young people in our society, not necessarily in our family. It may be our young neighbors hanging out. We're going to need these people to carry our bags when we're 80 something, if we should be so fortunate enough. We have to be mindful how we shape their young minds.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be mindful on how we show up and shape them to what kind of citizens they're going to be in this society.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be reliving our old days like we teenagers back in high school, like that was the best years of our life. No, we got better days ahead.
Yes.
We got better days ahead. But sis, I want to thank you for bringing up that clip.
I got you back, bro. I got you back.
My sister always on point. So I'm going to look for this let me see. Let me share my screen. Here we go. TikTok and you don't stop. Hold up. Let's where that volume at? Where that? Hold up. Here we go.
Nigga, the maggots ain't even ate the baby up yet. The baby still got skin on his ass, Woody. And you want to go with me with a dead baby? Woody, you want to go with me? I'm gonna make you crash out. You know what? I'm gonna make your bitch ass crash out, nigga. I'm finna talk about that dead baby. Now, didn't you just put a baby in a little box, look like a little shoe box? Oh, no. Woody, didn't you just bury your baby in a Nike shoebox, nigga? You better leave me alone. Say, didn't you just put little William in a shoebox, nigga, and put some sand on top of him? You better leave me alone, boy. Before I have your whole family crying again. Because I ain't going to talk about the living baby. I'm going to talk about the dead baby. I'm going to talk about that baby you can't burp no more. You ain't even get to burp him long. Boy, you were so happy when that baby was born. And then you tried to come online and play like you ready to crash out. Nigga, you were just looking for some sympathy. I'm baby in the ground. Woody.
That's crazy. That's nasty work. That's just nasty. Nasty. There's nothing you can say about that. It's just nasty.
Yeah, so, and that shit still disturbs my spirit as I look at that. And my condolences to Woody YSL's family and everybody that's feeling the loss of that child. That shit is not funny. It's not fucking entertaining, and ain't doing anything for likes, views, and clicks. New York said Woody gotta respect karma. Yeah, karma's real. But I don't know if Woody ever deleted a baby. Because Woody was the hitter. He was the hitter. Our brother Rich Knight says forgiveness is one of the most powerful practices. Don't voluntarily carry weight. You don't have to. Yeah. Forgiveness. That's a show within itself. When do we forgive? And that's why, Woody said, he prayed for Charles because Charleston said something about Woody's daughter who's disabled. And it's like, yo, when do folks learn the value of silence? When do you learn that some things are better left unsaid? If you got an issue with that man, leave it between you and that man. But he got this thing where he really feels nobody's going to do nothing to him. And he still has his own family. Silence is golden. Silence, you can't be misquoted with your silence. Remember when you and I were in Straight Black Pride, people were like, why were we so silent? When there was disagreements within the other areas of leadership. Because you and I were in leadership. We was in Northeast Regional leadership. But other leadership was going back and forth. And we like, yo, all of that was personal. And people was like, well, why New York so quiet? We was like, cause we not going to be. Yeah. We drink our water and mind our business.
That's it.
You can't be misquoted. Nobody can't say you said something you didn't say.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
true story. When the case happened with John White in Long Island, and there was a trial going on, and you had some white supremacist skinheads who were in the courtroom as well. And it was so thick and heavy, they had to separate, the courtroom. Us on one side, they on the other side. They come out the courtroom first and we come out second, or vice versa. But you had a lot of media and press who showed up, every day of the trial. And, we were told by the late Reverend Herbert Oliver not to say nothing to the press. Nothing means nothing.
Right.
And, and I said something. And they misquoted what I said. And it's a good thing that I had a witness there who vouched for they misquoted what I said. But anyway, I got scolded on. Because he said, don't say nothing to nobody. They can't misquote you if you ain't say nothing.
Right.
But I let my anger get the best of me. You know what I mean? And it could have hurt the way we were going, you know, with this case and getting this man released out of prison, you know, for protecting his family. And then, you know, that was a wake-up call for me. You know, you have to know how you move out here, especially when you're representing the people. You got to know how you move out here because it will be used against you. And so when I try to tell people that, or as you try to tell people that, you know, I hope they get it. I hope they get it, because if not, it's going to go another way and you ain't going to like it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of the growing lessons. You know, we make these mistakes. Experience is the best teacher. Your mama's the first teacher. Experience is the best teacher. And the only way we learn, only way we grow is through our mistakes and being humble enough to realize that we made a mistake. So I like what our brother in New York was saying, you know, when you hurt people, you don't get to dictate your repercussions. That's true. That's true, right? And he's particularly talking about Woody. But, and again, this is no cape for Woody, just, you know, no cape for him or nothing like that. But what I will say is, when do we leave room for redemption for our people? See, there's one thing to condemn behavior. Right. It's one thing to condemn behaviors. But if we're not going to leave room for growth in those behaviors, then what's the sense in anybody transforming their behavior? Why should I stop if I'm still going to be vilified for my misdeeds? All right, I'll take my lashes. I get it. I have to re-earn trust. I have to reestablish myself in the community. I get that. But will this be constantly held over my head? And will I still be treated like a leper, even if I'm doing the right thing in moments I could have crashed out? And I realized in our community, particularly Black people, we seldom give our people grace. We seldom overlook the mistake. Now, I'm saying dismiss it. But if they give an earnest effort to change and be better, I am not the 16, 17, 20-year-old Tad by no stretch of the imagination.
Right.
By no stretch of the imagination. I'm not the Tad I was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
By no stretch of the imagination. Me and Dogie was having this conversation recently. The last time I got into an exchange with somebody with the Second Amendment, I was an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Full-fledged adult. Full-fledged adult. Slack shoes, button up, grown man, grown. The kids was probably grown. Yeah, the kids was grown.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was playing with it.
Somebody
underestimated. Like, it goes down, and I try to but we got to leave space for people to redeem themselves. Because of the grace that I was afforded, I've been awarded by some esteemed people. Me and Sister Keisha got to meet the Dr. Arikana when we were, you know, when we were Pan-Africans a few years back.
Khalid Muhammad.
Dr. Khalid, because I was afforded grace. I could crash out over things that has happened to me, but I chose not to. I chose to use my silence as my weapon. Not brag about it, not talk about what I could do. Those who know. Those who don't need to know. Because that's not a measurement of my manhood. The measurement of my manhood is how I could take my licks. I could make my mistakes. I can apologize and I can grow. And what happens for me is how the universe works. I'm afforded more opportunities, better opportunities, greater experiences. I mean, shit, I've been to Hawaii. That is a beautiful feeling.
Come on.
Let alone been to Ethiopia, let alone been to Ghana. You know, like, I've done some dope things with my life. I've done some super dope things with my life and look to do more. But that's by acknowledging my past, not bragging on it. I mean, I need YouTube money. Please don't get it twisted. Like, subscribe, and share. I need some YouTube money. However, when I went to these places, it wasn't YouTube money. It wasn't street money. It was my 9 to 5 money that I work for every day.
Mm-hmm.
The job that I've been doing for 20 years. I've been, my coworkers say, yo, you come in here, you bring a good energy, you're always happy. I said, I'd rather do 25 years on the job than 25 in the can.
That
And
part.
they tried to hit me with 25. But I've learned some things along the way. And these are things that we're trying to share with you as OGs on this OG Wisdom podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people need this conversation. Because I don't see this conversation being had in these spaces with Gen X black men who's into hip hop, black men who's grown from the street element. Very few are trying to have this conversation. And those of us that are, our voices are getting muted. And that's not fair because this is part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
They want us talking about, pardon my language, they want us to talk about nigga shit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you to talk about nothing that's going to move the culture forward, move you forward in life. They want you to be stuck. They want you to be stuck as a mindless consumer.
Mm-hmm.
This is why the digital age is about to boom. Just saw an article the other day. They're about to dump trillions into this. That's why Hollywood and the movies are losing money because we got direct-to-consumer contact.
Yep.
But then what is our message? You have to have a message if you want to be on these platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to change the trajectory. This is my mission. This is my purpose. Because I honestly believe the Creator didn't keep me alive to wither away my blessings, to squander my blessings, sis.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing. Don't nobody pray harder than somebody getting shot at.
Come
when
on.
you're trying to outrun a bullet, boy, you become the most religious person on the planet.
Facts.
And if you don't believe in God, you start to believe in God then. When you're sitting there looking at 25 years in the can, 25 to L, you start to get kind of spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
You get real spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
But then check the fly shit, right? When the Creator give you that blessing you asked for, do you squander it? Or do you get arrogant? I prayed on my knees every day, 7.5 months, no bill. Prayed, cried to God. And that's because I kept my mouth shut too. It's always, who with you? I was by myself. All right, by yourself. You take this case by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This thing that we talking about our community. We talking about redemption. We talking about our future. We're talking about our babies. Mm-hmm. Charleston White started out as somebody who was doing good for the community activist. But who can take him serious now? He say that's a character. That's a bad character, my G.
Yeah.
And it's demonstrating a lack of character. Certain things got to be sacred. If the black family is not sacred, what is?
Mm-hmm.
If we're not going to honor our mother and fathers, if we're not going to be protectors of the babies, how can we call ourselves people who care about the community?
Mm-hmm.
And pardon my language and no disrespect, because again, I am trying to grow, sister. But I don't give a fuck about nobody who got ill will for children that were deleted on this planet or children that transition, anybody that celebrates the death of our people. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite because I've done dirt in my life too. And God forbid if somebody come to me with some bullshit, I'll do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But hear me and hear me clearly. I'd rather not. Because anytime I had to defend myself, I'm defending myself.
Mm-hmm.
You playing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma used to say, all closed eyes ain't sleep.
Come on.
And just because my mouth is shut don't mean I don't got nothing to say. I let my silence speak for me.
Mm-hmm.
And we at critical mass right now. We fighting this government. We see what's going on. We just glad as foundational Black Americans, I'm just glad that they finally moved us out the target for a little bit and decided to mess with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And in the interim, we should be getting our act together. And part of that is how we deal with each other. That's why anytime I see somebody reconcile, I celebrate it. I applaud it. You can go look back on our old shows when I said I hope Mason Cam could put their differences to the side and get back together. I was glad to see Nelly and Ashanti get back together after years of being apart. Because somehow So, and I got to get on my soapbox now. Somehow, some way, we keep teaching that the people in our lives don't mean shit, that they don't have no value, that we can instantly delete people, block them. You know what I'm saying? Just cut our family off. I don't speak to my brother. I don't speak to my sister. And yeah, as family, when people move out of state, a gap does grow in the communication. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got people living in the South, and we don't get to meet at grandma's house every Sunday no more and break bread. Yeah, it's but this is what the system wanted. They wanted us broken up. Mm-hmm. From the days of our enslavement, punishment was deeper than getting your ass whipped. Because if you got whipped as the man, if you got essayed as a man, your black woman was right there in that cabin to put that pig grease on your back with them rags and let you know you still a man in my eyes. You still a man in this family. So when they realized the whippings didn't work, they just start selling the family off. You know what? I got something for their ass. I'm going to just separate everybody. I'm selling off the baby. I'm selling off the mama. I'm selling off the grandmama. And in that trauma comes the family reunion.
Come on.
This is why the brothers hang out at the stores. People don't unpack this. But why do the brothers hang out at the store? That's part of our culture. Because after the Emancipation Proclamation, people went looking for their families to put it back together. So if you was in Richmond, Virginia, you went by the general store. Hey, what happened to such and such on the Waverly plantation? Oh, that's they right. Were sold down the river to the Parabel or whatever plantation.
Yep.
So you hung out by the general store to get that information because everybody had to go to the store. And then it just transitioned as time went on. And then now you got the doo-wop dudes in front of the store just singing, celebrating their harmonies, you know, harmonizing and shit, singing to the ladies as they walk by. See, our culture is so rich and so deep, and we got to get back to it because we out here messing up bad, man. And when we start celebrating the death of our own babies, we are no better than the white supremacists, the people we say we fighting against. That idea, that mentality, to even regurgitate that bullshit and think it's funny, character or not.
That part.
It got to be a part of us that have a level of discernment, a level of integrity. To where certain things for our own edification that we just don't do.
Yep.
And it pains me. It hurts me. It hurts me. Because I kind of rock with Charleston White in the beginning when he was, you know, all about the community and calling out rappers that's bringing death and destruction, promoting that message. Yeah, we got to stop promoting. We got to stop promoting self-destruction in our community. I'm all for it. But now when you start celebrating it, you're no better than the people you say you fighting against. You are mirroring the very enemy you say you fighting against. But now, are we your enemy or are they your enemy? Because you're about to be a man with no nation. And I seldom speak on Charleston White. I seldom speak, but he's hit an all-time low for me. And like I said, my silence is powerful because some things I just don't speak on. And I don't speak against the people. I speak against the actions, but now I'm speaking against the man. Speaking against Charleston White, the man, the character, because that's an all-time low. I speak against people talking ill of the dead because we don't do that. I was critical of Mark Lamar Hill when he reposted something that one of them fun boys, one of them gay men posted about Dr. Frances Cress Welsing when she transitioned.
Yep.
It was very disrespectful, and Mark Lamar Hill had the audacity to repost it, which means you share that sentiment, literally sharing that sentiment. You didn't condemn it.
That's a tether. That's a problem.
He didn't condemn that. He supported it.
Yeah.
Now, whether you agree with Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, peace be upon her, she wrote the ISIS papers. If y'all not familiar, look it up. That was the catalyst for the movie Baby Boy. You ever go watch Baby Boy when Jodie was in the womb? That was Dr. Frances Cress Welsing they were quoting. Because it's about our arrested development, how we fail to mature as men and women, but I could only speak for the men. That's what the movie Baby Boy was about. That's what Dr. Frances Cress Welsing was talking about. White folks fear a genetic annihilation and our inability to mature and show up like men and women. Because we get a certain age, and for some reason in our community, that's the first thing we want to say. Yeah, because I'm grown. I'm grown. But are you mature? But are you mature? Do you have conflict resolution skills? And that's something I'm constantly working on. Like I said, every day is a battle for me. Because there are things that piss me off.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally have to learn to stop letting people and things control me. I've got a lot better. I'm damn sure not what I used to be, but there's always room for improvement. So I say that to the people because this is the time we be silent. We see the world is at war with us, sis. And we in this, and we all got a platform to express ourselves now. Everybody, our grandchildren have platforms now where they can express themselves. But what is the message that we sharing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this real quick, sis, and I want to pass the mic because I'm gonna step off my soapbox. But I want people to be mindful. Whether you read the Metal Netter, whether you read the Bible or the Quran, remember that in the beginning was the word. Words are powerful. Words are vibration. Words have meaning. Words have frequency. We were told that sticks and stones break bones, but words don't hurt. Words are very hurtful. And we have to be very mindful of that. But word comes from thoughts. There's always the thought before the word. So if you study ancient Kemet, you know that the creative deity is Ptah. Ptah is the god of creativity. I'm just saying that for the netter or whatever you want to use the language for. But Ptah is the creative thought that Amen had. Before there was the word, there's the thought. We got to be mindful of our thoughts. We got to be mindful on how we see things and what we think about people, good and bad. We got to stop subscribing to the bullshit we telling ourselves based on our external environment. If you're in a dilapidated place, if you're in a depressed place, you're in a place of despair, your thoughts are going to be centered on that. And then your words and then your actions are going to become that. So we got to be mindful. And this is why we here at OG Wisdom, we try to provoke thought based on our real life experience. Sister K Fighters from Fort Greene Projects. If you're from the Fort, you're familiar with her and her family. If you're from Brooklyn, you already know how Fort Greene give it up. If you're from Bed-Stuy, Clinton Hills, you're familiar with me. If you're in a pro-Black Pan-African community, you may be familiar with me. If you're into hip-hop, if you follow all that stuff, if you follow Biggie and Junior Mafia, you're familiar with C. Gutter and his history. You know what I'm saying? I like my man New York. Anybody can talk crazy about K Fighter. Anybody talk crazy about K Fighter is up.
Don't let my man. Don't let my man get wrecked.
You know, but I'm gonna pass the mic. I'm just saying we all qualified to speak on what we're talking about. So it's not like we're not people with street experience. We have extensive street experience, but we know we owe it to our community, our family, those who look up to us and believe in us to do the right thing. We owe it to those, our grandparents who prayed over us when we was outside clubbing and wilding. We owe it to them to do something with our life. Don't be a piece of shit like so many of these other people. They just out here want to be seen, and that's all right because maybe they've been neglected. But this is the power of therapy. This is the power of therapy. Go sit on somebody's couch and fucking cry. Let that shit out. But I'm off the soapbox, Sister Keisha. You appreciate you, brother 7 Fitness. Big shout out to the panel in the chat. Shortly going to check the rest of this segment on the playback. Always a powerful dialogue on the platform. About to get this physical fitness. Salute. Salute, bro. But yeah, sis, I just had to put that out there.
No, 100. Everything that you said is 100. You know, both of us have lost our mothers. And
Gutter lost his mother as well.
Yeah. Losing our mothers, you know, that's your portal to the world, right? And that's why, you know, some people say, well, why is Mother's Day celebrated more than Father's Day, or, you know, something along that vein? Mm-hmm. It's because your mother is your portal to the world. And I remember the day my mother transitioned. And she said to me, held my hand and said to me, thank you for being a good daughter. Thank you for being a good daughter. And then I said, after she transitioned, I now have to take that to the rest of the family, right? I got to be a good sister. I got to be a good aunt. I got to be a good cousin. I got to be a good niece. You understand? So, as you know, with certain health challenges that I have, I was in the hospital and my aunt came to visit me. And something she said really tugged at my heart. The doctor came in and a nurse, and they wanted to talk to me. And I said, you can say, what you need to say. This is my family, They wanted them to step out. And my aunt said, she's not the matriarch of our family, but she's the anchor of our family.
Mm.
When you carry, like you said, a lot of people depend on us for certain things, like when I have my Friday night conversations and Uncle Jesse say, when you be throwing that history out, man, certain people just need to be quiet and just listen. You know what I mean? So even, in this movement, shout out to Sister Brooke and Brother Devon, to be a comfort for them or a guide for them. You know what I mean? It's very, very important that I carry myself in a particular way. There are times I may want to crash out. You know what I mean? If I'm out in the street, how I carry myself, I don't want no one to ever come back to my husband and tell him some craziness. You know what I mean? Like, it's a way that I have to carry myself. And so I take that and I take that heavy. So I can't be out here going off and getting wrecked. And because, my 8-year-old grandson is building his business right now. And he's relying on his grandmother to make sure that his business flourished. And so I don't know how long I have on this earth, but I do know that I'm going to leave him with a blueprint. You know what I mean? How to carry himself as a young man and how to fulfill his needs for his business. I don't want anybody to come to Brother Tad and say, well, Keisha was out here doing such and such and such. I don't want nobody to pick up the phone and call Doggy Dog. No, Keisha ain't what she says she is. She out here doing such and such and such. I don't want to move like that. So, let's just be a little bit more thought-provoking in how you carry yourself. Be a little bit more thought-provoking on how your family looks at you, how your community looks at you, how your enemy looks at you, right? Because the enemy looks at me like, I better be careful how I move with that one over there. I better be careful. Case in point, on our other show, Thorough Black Talk, you had somebody who come in the chat and just talking reckless. And just went completely off. He like, no, not with my sister. You're just not going to do that. Now, he would not have done that if I was out here reckless.
Right.
He's like, she getting what she deserved. You know what I mean? So we have to be smart as we grow, as we get older, as we move to be leaders in our family, leaders in the community. You have to be smart. And I see a lot of these online back and forth when it need not be. It need not be. There is room for everyone. There are billions of people on this planet.
That's right.
You don't have to always fight for the same audience. You don't have to put on, boxing gloves or fake boxing gloves for people to satisfy your audience. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. And it's not going to always last. True story. Dr. Amos Wilson said to Steve Coakley that, you have to be careful when you're putting out the information that you're putting out, because you're always going to have people looking for more. And then at one point, it's not going to be any more. Then you may have to start making up stuff. So I don't want you to get into that situation. Pace yourself, and how you give information to the community. And that's some of the things that I'm seeing right now. A lot of people, they just coming up with all kind of crazy, weird stuff. You know what I mean? Or you just out here crashing out because you have nothing else to give. And it's a sad situation. So, that's why OG wisdom is very, very important. Share this with people in your family, on your social media spaces, because as Taz said and C Gutter said, there's always room for growth.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know how to take that step in growing. You know what I mean? Like Taz said, go sit on somebody else's couch and cry yourself out. I have a family member who I do that with. But I'm just saying, find something in your life because, I find it very peculiar that people can, disparage the unaliving of a baby. That's some mental illness that you really, really have to deal with. When you disparage the unaliving of a baby who had nothing to do with anything, didn't even know you, you didn't know them. It's crazy. It's just like, when you and I came up, shooting to take place, an innocent child get caught up out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we condemn that. We
Yes.
all condemn the recklessness.
Yes. It's nothing to glorify. So, I just see that as problematic. And I hope Charleston White can get back to himself. I hope Woody could get back to himself and be leaders in their family and leaders in their community, because the recklessness is just uncalled for.
Yeah, and it is sad, and I like what New York was saying, because this is YSL Woody. He was the hitter, he's caused family some pain, and it's hard to say. 'Cause I don't want to get preachy, but we talk about redemptions of souls here, and I see he's trying to redeem himself. You can't undo what's already been done, and that goes for so many of us, on and off this platform. You know what I mean? What we've done can't be undone. However, how we move forward could have a significant impact. In fact, can have a greater impact. As long as we don't squander this blessing we have of life and freedom. But now we in this space. And when we talk about freedom, when we talk about having life, we're literally talking about legacy. We're talking about legacy building. I think at a certain age, Black people should be talking about building their legacy. What will your legacy be? I'm not just talking about the monetary legacy. What will your eulogy sound like? How will you be remembered? What are they going to say about you? Were you the strong, silent type, or were you the wrong, violent type? Boss, right? Because I used to be the wrong, violent type, and now I'm the strong, silent type. But we really got to think about that. Who will our children become? And how will they view you? See, I got a few college graduates in my midst. One soon to be a doctor. That's dope. But now how would I show up for that child? Child would get awards and all kind of prestigious events. How do I show up? High and drunk? Dressing like a senior citizen? Or do I act like somebody who is responsible in raising and rearing and developing a doctor? How do we show up? See, that's what a legacy is. How you gonna be remembered? What do you leave behind? I am my children graduating high school and college and all of that stuff, getting master's degrees and all. I can't tell you how proud I am, because the last time my mother seen me walk down the aisle for education was junior high school. The next time she seen me walking down the aisle was a courtroom. But then after that, she saw me walk down aisles as a community activist receiving awards from not everybody's favorite people, but city council awards, awards from congressmen, senators, the local church, other podcasts. other community organizers. And I'm glad, Sister K, that she was able to see my growth before her transition. She got to see her son transform before she transitioned. And one of the dopest conversations we had, she said, you know what, Tad? When you was growing up, I know it seemed like I was hard on you. She said, but I knew out of my kids, you be the leader, you be the one to do right. She said, I always believed in you, even though I was the worst. I was the one, oh, don't tell Tad because he's going to get crazy. I was loud. I was boisterous. Some spaces you hear me before you see me. But that's a sign of weakness. And now I'm grown. I'm old enough, strong enough to admit that I was weak. It was a fear that made me walk out the house with that thing every day. It was a fear that if I get into something and I can't hold myself down, and I don't want to run because I don't want to be looked at as a coward for running. So I kept it with me. So I don't have to run. You act stupid, I'm going to chase you. But that comes with consequences too. Because you don't always walk off the scene as the cowboy. I tell you, me and my boys walked to a block one day. We thought we was going to have a conversation and had them with us just in case. And somebody didn't make it home. Left there forever. We wasn't the fucking winners. We wasn't the wild cowboys. Shit didn't work out according to plans. We got dumped on early. You don't always win. But you know what I learned the solution was, sis? Leave all that shit alone. Stop trying to prove how tough you are to people it don't make no difference to. The tough shit is leaving it alone. That street shit is easy. That's why we be like, fuck the streets. That's easy. It's easy to get a weapon. It's easy to call the homies. It's easy to get mad and start swinging. The hard shit is being mature, making a decision for your future. Saying, you know what? This shit ain't about nothing. I tell you, I was going to see my grandmother a couple of months ago on my way to the airport. I got into it with a dude. And we was getting ready to scrap. And I had to think, sis. And I said, you know what, dude? I apologize. Go ahead. He's like, yeah, you apologizing now. I was like, nah, that's what grown people do. Because you know what I said? I said, we gonna scrap. Police gonna come. I'm gonna go through the system, miss my flight, already fighting the case. Like, this is not a good look for me. It's a lose-lose situation for me. I don't win nothing. All right, I beat him up, and then what? Or let's say this, because I have a fight in a minute. Let's say I'm rusty and he washed me up. So now I get washed. Let's say I get washed and locked up and miss my flight. And we don't know how much my grandmother got on this plane. My grandmother, 89 years old. I had to think my way through it because there's too much at stake. And this is what I keep trying to express to people, to our audience. We got too much to lose, man. We trying to get to the money for what? What are we going to do with it? Are we gonna put our family in a nice home? Cool. If our children got developmental delays, if our grandchildren got developmental delays, do we get them better service? Cool. Can we get mom that house she always wanted, that car? If some of us are fortunate enough to still have our moms, cool. But how can you do that if you wiped off the board? How can you do that if you locked up? How can you do that if you deleted? You got to be in the game, and the goal of the game is to win. Win. Not prove that you're a winner, but actually win. Not look like a winner, but actually win. So I say that because here in these online spaces, I know me, Gutter, K-Fighter, we here to build our legacy. Don't look at who you used to know. Watch us transform right here on these platforms before your eyes. Check us out on the OG Wisdom Pod. I mean, not the OG Wisdom, Thorough Black Talk Worldview every Thursday. We're on the OG Wisdom Podcast now. Check us out. We talk politics. But you know what? We got to have these spaces where we can really talk our stuff, where we can talk about developing and growing. And me and Sister K Fighter, when the weather break, we gonna do some things, you know, getting back into our community events. Take it offline. where we could all have real legit meetups and politic and build our community, build our village. Because we got some dope people that rock with us. We got some super dope people in our midst. People that we could call at the drop of a dime and pull up for us. People that y'all love and respect. Whether they thought leaders like Kaba Kamene, whether they some of your favorite rappers, Deucey Gutter relationships and connections. Me and Sister K Fight have been in this movement for decades. And we've seen the decline of the pro-black community, whatever you want to call it, and we've seen the decline of the black families. And we stand 10 toes down when we talk about preserving the black family. Because you could want to heal a community, but you ain't going to heal a community if the family's in disarray.
That part.
Everybody talking about stop the violence in the community, and you fuck around, it's the family outside fighting.
Mm-hmm.
The whole family, cousin against cousin, brother against sister. We got to stop that. We can't promote that.
Mm-hmm.
We got the ability to connect with people all across the world, let alone across the country. When I was coming up, you made your contacts through going out of town for nefarious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You got a homeboy who got a family OT. Yo, we could take this OT, move this out there. And then you develop a relationship. Like, yeah, I was in this town, that town. Hey, that's a story old as time for every street dude. You went out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody went out of town. They was the plug. They was the connect. Shout out to my uncle and my family down in Wilson who held me down. I love my Uncle Money. Love my Uncle Money. Love my Uncle Money.
Wait, Wilson, North Carolina?
Wilson. Yeah, Wilson.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm grown now, so I don't get in trouble, but that's what they used to send me every time I got in trouble.
Man, we got deeper connections than people know. But go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying we have the ability to connect with people outside of our immediate space. And we could build that connection. We could build that network. We could put our communities back together. There's so much work that needs to be done. And we don't need to waste our time arguing and fighting with one another because nobody loses. I mean, nobody wins. We all lose in a family fight. See, and I'm over 50 years old, right? When I was in my teens and 20s, I was hoping I'd live this long, but I was preparing that I didn't. If I do, that's cool. If I don't, But now, living to be a certain age, you start dealing with empty nest syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Your children start growing up, moving out. Your parents start aging. You got to deal with that. You got to deal with your parent ailment. So you become a parent twice in your life, raising your own kids, and now you got to help your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the people you were friends with, you're no longer friends with because they may have transitioned, moved away, or the lifestyle don't complement each other no more.
Yep, especially that part.
Yeah, some people still want to act like we 18, 19. Yo, remember we used to go to the Empire? Let's pull up to the Empire. All right, go ahead. Yeah, stand outside of that storage unit. That's all the Empire is now. You know?
Right.
So as you age, you start reevaluating your value system. What is important to you? What does, like for me, I'm 20. What does the next 10, 20 years, prayerfully 30 and 40, look like for me? This is why I stay active in the gym. I can still do squats. My two-year-old grandson come, I can literally squat down and play with the race cars with him. That feels good. I'm my grandson's friend. When he come, he looks for me. This is powerful. But these are the conversations that we should be having as we age and mature for those of us that come from that street background, for those that come from that criminal background. We shouldn't be talking about how tough we are. One of the people that I like, one of the channels I like is Brian Glaze Gibbs. I watch him. He's an OG from Brooklyn. You know, some people may not feel him. I do.
Shout out to the East.
Yeah, because he's home now and he's giving real valuable information as somebody who's certified, who has been there. See, he's from the older generation. So when he tells his stories, he talks about my OGs, and I love it. He talks about them. Haitian Jack talks about them. You know, when they shout out the Puma Boys, shout out to my man Pretty Black. You know what I'm saying? and all the older dudes. These are grown men, you know what I'm saying, that I used to watch when I was outside, who we have a mutual respect for as men, you know, because I respect the chain of command. I respect the architect. This is part of legacy building. These men are grown. Some of these men are over 60 years old, and they're not trying to be senior citizens. See, so for the dudes in their 40s and 50s right now, what do your next 10 years look like? What's your online? Because like this digital stuff, it's here. It's here. Your great grandkids might see this, might pull up, do some family history, be like, oh, my great great grandfather was Brother Tad. Well, let's see what he was talking about. Oh, all right, that's where I get it from. I'd rather them see that than see the old me talking about how wild I am, how I give it up, how my thing go off, how I do this, that, and the third. A lot of shit I did in the street ain't nothing I'm proud of and nothing to brag about. It's nothing that I care to revisit. And the only way I revisit is to share the jewels, right, sis? To share my fears. Because can't nobody tell me they was in the bang out and wasn't scared. If they do, they lying. Can't nobody tell me they stood in front of that judge with serious charges and wasn't scared. They lying. Oh, New York still in front with his A&D crew. That's what's up. Me too, bro. Me too. Art and design, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me he wasn't afraid. In fact, as he talk about art and design, I'd be lying if I tell you I wasn't nervous my first day at art and design. Because I'm 14 years old going to school with 18-year-olds. I'm look like I'm getting ready to go to school with grown men. Because remember, in our age, in the 80s, 18 was grown. 18 was a legal adult. They upped it because dudes stopped acting like adults. Folks stopped being mature. And I remember it was me and my man Remo, Kareem Bates. We went to 258 together, and we went to art and design together. And dudes was talking about what they was going to do to us on Freshman Friday. We laughed. And he had the little, you know, we was ready. We was ready Freshman Friday. And we laughed, right, sis? Because my dude, he was from Nostrand and Lex. Shout out to Nostrand now. You know, we laughed. He said, yo, remember what them dudes look like? I was like, no, you? He was like, no. And we laughed. Just knew they better not ran up on us that day on Freshman Friday. But there's a fear that comes with this stuff. And that's where all the braggadocious, that's where all the bravado come from, because you were able to conquer your fear. But dudes are not honest, and they don't talk about that part, about them scary nights. Ain't nothing worse than being in the trap. I'll share a quick story about fear. Ain't nothing crazy like being in the trap and you hear shots outside, and that's the police popping the dog. Brother Tad looked like the East Coast bro. Look, I took Gutter out. I'm about to take you out too, New York. Now, Gutter working on his technical stuff. You know what I mean? But, you know, oh, you know Pretty Black. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, Pretty Black, a certified OG. That's the big bro. He put me in touch with Choke, no joke. You know what I'm saying? And Choke is a good dude. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how people may feel, whether he's telling the truth or not. And that's what I'm saying. Our stories have to be told. It has to be our perspective. And I can only speak on my personal experiences. And I don't come here to bullshit nobody. I'm trying to save lives. Because I come from the era of destroying people's lives, you know, wilding out, bugging out, acting stupid. You know, dog always laugh because we got inside jokes and all that, you know, about how I used to be frantic. Don't call Tad. Don't call Tad. Because when Tad comes out, it's up. But that was my fear. That was my ignorance. That was my foolishness. And sometimes it still shows its ugly head. I'm not always cool and mild mannered. You see here on the show, sometimes I lose it. You know what I'm saying? But in this space, and this is for everybody who want to start their podcast, start their YouTube, be mindful of what you're going to represent. If that's what you want to be, stand 10 toes on that shit and down that hill. If you want to be a senior citizen, if you don't want to mature, then by all means, you don't got to. But if you want to add some real value, some real purpose to your life, you want to build your legacy, be mindful of what you do and what you say and how you show up. because all of this can destroy you. There's power in the tongue. With our words, we can create life or we can destroy life. I know how I created life. Yo, shorty, what's your name? Next thing you know, she my baby mama. We created some life through the power of the word. You know what I mean? But yeah, sis, I don't want to hog the mic. Anything you want to add to that, though?
Man, all I'm saying is, think before you react. Remember what the consequences could be. Who knows? We're not here. We're not promised tomorrow. You got to live for today. And if you live for today, you got to make sure you do the right thing. You can't be out here wrecked. You know what I mean? I love the jokes in the chat. And something that Sister Aruba 927 said. Shout out to Doggy Diamond TV mods. And she said, her brothers, they were just talking about this, and they speak about it often. That's where it starts. It starts with you and your family. You know what I mean? Like Friday nights, we have our family night Zoom call or whatever, and we chop it up. We laugh, we joke, we talk about different things, and it is what it is because, like Uncle Jesse say, a lot of us is dying off. We don't know how long we're going to be here. We got to carry this thing forward. We got to see each other's face. Even if you just pop in for 5 minutes, let me know what's going on with you because, time waits for no one. It waits for no one. And if you're going to embark on this space, streaming and, having a public platform, just be mindful that your words hold power. Your words hold power. And how you use that power, it can grow your audience or it can turn people off. And if it turns people off, it will crush your idea of having a business in this space. If it crushes your idea of having a business in this space and you put all your eggs in that basket, it's going to crush your mental. If it crushes your mental, you're going to take it out on the people closest to you, which more than likely is your family. So keep that in the forefront. You got to think and start, as Tad always say, peel back the layers. See where this is going to go. So when we decided to do this thing, starting with Straight Black Talk, back when we was on Blog Talk.
Was that 2015? Might have been 2013, right?
Something like that, yeah.
2013, 2015.
Yeah, we decided, we got to be mindful of how we represent, our families in these spaces. We got to be mindful of how we operate with the community in these spaces. And then, at certain points, people try to challenge us in how we operate. I'm not from the South. My family is. I'm from New York. We move different. Matter of fact, I'm not from New York. I'm from Brooklyn.
Word.
We move different over here. It's a different type of thing over here. And so, we always kept that, in our repertoire, how we operate. And then, growing forward to other things, we still kept that, as OG Wisdom podcast grows, like Taz said, he has children, he got grandchildren, and hopefully great grands that'll come along. And we are in these spaces, and this video will be here forever. Forever. You know what I mean? So now when our great grandchildren start to research the family, they won't have to look as hard. You know what I mean? They won't have to look as hard. Back in 2016, when Brother Tad and I started telling people, research your family history. Start from there. I can leave this world today, January 18th, 2026, and I know for certain that my ancestors will greet me with open arms on the other side. I know for certain, they give you on your obituary, right? You have your sunrise date when you came into this world and the sunset date when you left this world. With that dash in between, that holds a lot of power and weight. You know, what would they say about you? You know, what are they going to think about you? You know, how long did they sit around you and get to know you and get to learn who you are? You know, a lot of people say, I know so and so. Nah, you don't know that person. So why would I be on this internet spaces talking crazy about this person I don't know?
Word.
On Thorough Black Talk, I talk about things I know.
Right.
Things and spaces I've been in. Not what I think, not what somebody told me, where I've been in. And if I wasn't there, I got it straight from the horse's mouth. Not no hearsay what somebody else told me. You know? And so let's just be mindful, even in the chat, you know, certain things you may hear, it may rub you the wrong way. You don't got to go in the chat and start acting crazy to people you don't know.
Right.
It's crazy to me. You having a whole argument with somebody you don't know because you didn't like something. You say you're that emotional?
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro.
And Rich Nice is right. He said, talking crazy get views, sadly. And that's the conversation me and Doggy had this morning. Because unfortunately, they yanked his Facebook page this morning.
What?
Tag him in something, yeah.
Oh my God. I don't mess with Facebook. They get on my nerve.
Yeah.
I don't like Meta.
Like what our brother New York said, OG wisdom equals observation and guidance leads to wisdom.
That part.
Hallelujah, holla back. Yeah.
I'm going to use that quote.
Yeah.
You.
But it's something you said, you know, like when people are not emotionally in check, they're easily controllable. Mm-hmm. And that's something I've learned as a young person. Like my first time getting, you know, locked up, I was 18. And then, you know, again at 20, 21, something like that. And then I start to realize I'm letting folks control my emotions. And by my response, I get locked up. And that's what I'm saying when I hear everybody talk about, yo, I'll do this, I'll do that. And like, yo, and what do you think the police going to do? If you really that dude? Because you're either going to get laid on the concrete or you going to jail. It's a lose-lose situation. So why would you put yourself in that space? And that's what happened. That's what happened when you react emotionally. And as men, we should have it, you know, and like I said, I ain't got mine all the way in check. I'm working on it. So I guess this is my plea for help. For the community to hold me accountable. If you may catch me acting out of line, like, come on, Tad, you better than that. Because sometimes we need that reminder. We need that reality check. Because a lot of us operate off of our foundational information. And our foundational information just had us wilding. Things don't go our way. We wild up. We wild out. But that's what we did as a kid. 3 years old, mommy don't give you what you want. You throw a tantrum. And that's all we doing is throwing big-ass tantrums in these spaces. And granted, we got a right to express our pain. If we hurting, by all means, let it be known. Let it be known. But at the same token, you hurt, you heal, you move on. But don't let nobody trick you out your position. See, you know, there's the YouTube coalition that was getting ready to put a move together, but it got blocked by a gatekeeper. They got blocked by a gatekeeper. Shout out to Fat Joe. Right?
AKA Puppet Legs.
Yeah, he blocked the play. And that's what I'm saying. You know, it goes back to something you said, sis, and I'm going to just reiterate it. Move in silence because you can build a quiet alliance.
Yep.
See, when your plans are put out there, you don't know who's going to head you off at the path. They were like, oh, word, this is what they trying to do? All right, I'm going to block that.
Yep.
Rest in peace to Irv Gotti. He said some shit before that was a little profound, but it was in hindsight. He said, I wish I never blocked 50 Cent. He said, why? The interviewer asked him why. He said, because then he'd have got stuck with a shitty deal. He said, but since I blocked him at every way, I forced him to go out of town, and he went to Cali. Now look at him.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at them. Where's Irv? Where's 50?
Mm-hmm.
Where's Ja Rule? Cautionary tales. That's what OG wisdom is about. Cautionary tales, because we all got the opportunity to get in spaces that we say we want. But when we get there, how will we behave?
Mm-hmm.
How will we show up? Sometimes the creator know we not ready. We not demonstrating our readiness. We too eager. We got the wrong reasons why we want to be in some of these positions. We like, yeah, I'll do that, and I'm gonna shit on everybody. I get this, I'm shitting on dudes. Why? That's the wrong reason. Also, you got high side on somebody and make them feel worse. They're already in a bad position. You want to make them feel worse. That's the universe operates on frequency and particular laws. And we got to operate in that mode. You know what I mean? But I could be here doing a sermon all day on that, sis. We got about 10 minutes. Anything you want to lead the people with? I was hoping Gutter could come back in, but I guess he haven't.
One thing I want to leave the people with is that, be mindful that people are out here working on your behalf, and how you react to certain things can throw a monkey wrench in that. Shout out to everybody from the U.S. Freedmen's Project and others who made it upstate, to Binghamton, to the reparations hearing. And those of us who were able to give our testimony online. It's very important that we continue to be in these spaces, because we are closer than you think. We are closer than you think. And I believe, a lot of people have in their mind that we will never attain such a thing, that we will never get close to such a thing. But we are. Foundational Black Americans, delineating is a strategic approach to white tea aggression. We had to make that move. It had to grow organically for it to be successful. Us delineating has forced everybody to show their hand. I come from a family of gamblers. My grandmother, my step-pops, heavy gamblers. And so, they always said, be careful on how you show your hand. And this delineation movement is making everybody uncomfortable. And we are shaking up the world at the same time, only for our benefit. And so, if you continue to follow Thorough Black Talk, especially on Thursdays, where we reiterate what Sister Brooks says, to send those emails, because they are working, and they are working on our behalf. And that part is very easy for you to do. The emails are pre-written. So all you have to do is click a button and it's sent. Of course, you can read it, but all you have to do is click a button, and in 30 seconds, you can send an email for your own advocacy. Because, when we are no longer here, and your children and your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews and cousins will ask those of us of Gen X, what did you do in this fight to attain our reparations? I don't want you to sit there and say nothing. I did nothing. No, I was a part of that email writing campaign to make it attainable for you. I was a part of that email writing campaign. So that's the reason why our family is living well right now, because I was a part of that campaign. A lot of people from the baby boomer generation, some people say, well, I was with Malcolm and I was with Martin. You a liar. You can't show me no proof. You can't show me no proof that you were active in your community. You can't show me that proof. You see, you're lying. But you have a chance right now to be active on behalf of yourself and your family, while those of us who have to be in the face of these people, it makes it better for us. It makes it easier for us, and we are moving as a group. When you send those emails, we are representing you. When I give my testimony, I'm representing my family. I'm representing the OG Wisdom Podcast. I'm representing you. So that's why I'm strategic in the words that I use when I give my testimony, because I'm representing you. I'm advocating for you on your behalf. When Sister Brooke give her testimony, she is advocating for you, for your family, on your behalf. So, you sending them emails makes it easy.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, and again, catch our sister, me and my sister, every Thursday at 8 p.m. on the Thorough Black Talk Worldview. So, family, that's about our time right now. If this episode hit you, drop effective in the comments and share with someone who needs to stop reacting and start moving with purpose. Let them know this real conversation is happening right now. You know what I mean? Because we here for the long haul. You know what I mean? We ain't no fly-by passerbys. We in it for a minute. All right? So, with that said, we get ready to get up out of here. I just want to thank our usual suspects, Sister Ruba 927, our brother New York, Sister Brooks, Spread Love Movement, Brother Rich Nice, 7 Fitness. Who else we got in the chat? I don't want to miss nobody, you know, but everybody who rocks out. Oh, Uncle Jesse. Right, yeah, we can't front on Uncle Jesse. Hold up, we definitely
what up, Unc?
We can't front on Uncle Jesse now.
I just put the link in the chat. Everybody, send us emails. We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and we thank everybody who rocking out with us, watching on the playback. You know what I mean? So, as we end this episode, just let you know, if this joint made you uncomfortable, it probably hit the truth, and it means it was meant for you. But to our usual suspects, like it, share it, and remember, everybody don't need to hear your move, all right? So hopefully you inspired by something you heard here tonight or this afternoon. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. So, y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, it's always better days ahead. Peace, family.